Hey, it's Minimalist Gourmet, and today we're making a delicious one-pot chicken soup, but with a Thai twist. So let's get crack-a-lackin'. Every delicious soup starts off with a fantastic broth, and that's why I'll be using my chicken feet bone broth to start this soup with. I've got a full-length video on how to make this, which I'll link in the description below, as well as the end card. After you're done watching this one, definitely go check that out. It's one you don't want to miss. And of course, you can totally use your favorite homemade or store-bought broth in here as well. It's going to work out great. Heat the broth on medium high so it can come up to a simmer because we're going to start infusing this with some amazing Thai flavors. First up, we're going to use 3 stalks of lemongrass, and let me show you how to prepare that just in case you haven't used this before. You can actually use the entire stalk if you'd like, but I like to cut mine off at the top and save that for lemongrass tea. To really maximize the ability for this to infuse its flavor, we need to break up the fibrous insides a bit. We can do this by taking the back of our knife and slamming it across the surface, or just pressing the knife flat down and crushing that fiber up a little bit. Next up, we're going to put in a piece of galangal. If you don't have this available where you live, you can substitute some ginger. It won't be exactly the same, but it'll be pretty darn close. A small piece of turmeric, as well as some kaffir lime leaves. If you can't find these where you live, you can substitute the zest of 1 lime. It won't be exactly the same, but pretty darn close. Just let the broth sit here and simmer. It's going to get a nice head start on infusing all of these wonderful flavors into that broth while we prep up the rest of our ingredients. Just so you know, this isn't a traditional recipe. It's something I created that's inspired by all the wonderful flavors of Thailand. For our vegetables, we have some carrots, and we want to cut these up into bite-sized pieces that are going to fit on a spoon well. Shallots are much more traditional in Thai cuisine, but you can certainly substitute another type of onion if you'd like. The same thing with the corn. These baby corn ears are much more traditional, but you can use full-length ears if you'd like and just shave the kernels off. For a little bit of greenery, we've got some beautiful bok choy, and by the way, all these vegetables have been washed thoroughly before I cut them up. For both flavor and texture, we've got some amazing enoki mushrooms. My buddy calls these gateway mushrooms because even people that hate mushrooms actually really like eating these. We need to start by cutting off the bottom end here. This is filled with dirt and it's very difficult to wash all that out. Then we just need to chop these again into bite-sized pieces. Our broth is infusing nicely with all these delicious flavors, and it's time to put the first installment of vegetables in. I like to put the carrots, corn, and onions in ahead of the other vegetables so that way they can get a little extra time cooking because they're a bit more hearty. I decided to go with chicken breasts for this recipe, but to be honest, some thighs or drumsticks would be a little bit more traditional in a Thai soup. Of course, this choice is up to you. Now give this a good stir and allow it to simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes. And as always, recipes in the description below, so definitely go down and check that out. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It would be super if you did. The aromatics have been infusing for about 20 minutes total now, and this next step is totally optional, but I like to actually remove them. These aren't really for eating, they're really more for flavoring the soup, so I removed the lemongrass, the galangal, the turmeric, and the kaffir lime leaves. Also, when I made my chicken feet bone broth, I used an entire head of roasted garlic to season it. If your broth isn't really garlicky, you're going to want to add a good 2 to 3 tablespoons of minced garlic as well. Let's add the last of our ingredients, starting with some rice noodles. These are actually pad thai noodles, which work pretty well. You can also use pho noodles or even some rice vermicelli noodles. I prefer to break mine up so they're a little easier to eat, but of course you can leave them full length, no problem. We're going to toss these in along with our bok choy and the enoki mushrooms. You know, this dish makes a fantastic birthday dinner. Oh yeah, it's always a surprise gift. Hey, it's hard to make jokes about soup. It's not like I've got stock. Let this come back up to a simmer and cook for about 5 minutes, and in the meantime, we'll go ahead and prep up our toppings. You know, it wouldn't be a proper Thai meal if we didn't have a little bit of topping. Cut yourself a lime into about 6 or 8 pieces and make sure to get those seeds out so they don't go in your soup. Some cilantro, just get yourself a bunch and dice it up nice and fine. We're going to finish out with some diced bird's eye chili. We got some heat, a little bit of aromatic, as well as some nice citrus right at the end. This is going to help round out our flavors and allow people to customize their dish to their own liking. After 5 minutes of cooking, my soup was done. You can check yours by eating a noodle and the vegetables and confirming they're as tender as you'd like. Taste and adjust for seasoning as necessary. If you want to make it a little saltier, you could try using fish sauce. That is a very traditional way of increasing the saltiness in a dish, but be careful, it's pretty potent. I finished off my bowl with a few of those bird's eye chilies, not one, but 2 nice helpings of cilantro because I love it so much, and a nice lime wedge right on the side, as well as one squeezed in there for flavor. It's very aromatic, and I can't wait to try it. So let's go ahead and give this a try here. Oh my god. Okay, that is fantastic. Starting with the bone broth was definitely a plus. It's adding such a nice rich background flavor to it. Definitely the taste of chicken's coming through. But that lemongrass, the kaffir lime leaves, you can taste the ginger, the turmeric, everything in there is just nice. It's a really good accent. It has a nice, rich flavor to it. Everything, it just goes along super well here. It's very balanced and very aromatic. This really reminds me of home in a way because it's like a classic chicken noodle soup, but it also reminds me of my new home here in Thailand. And I gotta say, it's just a fantastic combination. You definitely should try this. And definitely, guys, make sure to check out my chicken bone broth video. I'm going to post right up here. That's going to be the basis for this soup. And trust me, you're going to want to try that out. It is fantastic. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see y'all again here next week on the next episode of Minimalist Gourmet.